Hey, Jeff Taylor.
How you doing, Lindsey Ray?
Good. How are you?
I'm well.
Okay. So today we are here to talk about how we got started in real estate. So I'm going to start by telling my story,
Okay.
and you can ask some questions along the way.
Sure.
Okay. So as most of you may or may not know, I was in the dental field. Went to college on a tennis scholarship. My family was on a very tight budget, so worked very hard to get a scholarship to be able to go to college, and didn't really know exactly what I wanted to be. I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian, and so went to Central Alabama Community College. Spent 2 years there. Hated living far away from my family. So at that point, I decided what else could I do that I could go to school at Wallace for to get closer back to my family. So I started doing some research. I thought, I always like going to the dentist. And I know it's a little different, isn't it?
That is really odd.
Some reason I do like going to the dentist. I think it's because my dentist was a farmer.
Well, I also think it's because you have, when you smile, all those pretty little ivories pop out and blind people.
Yeah. No, I think that came with after getting braces. But anyways.
Okay.
So I came back and I talked to Dr. Harbison, who was a local dentist here in Coleman. He had a practice. I grew up there going there. I've known him a long time because my family was friends with him. We worked on his farm growing up. And so I asked him a series of questions, and he said, yeah, I think you would enjoy it. Also did some research about the income it would bring in, so I thought it would be a good option. And Wallace was the only school in Alabama that had that. So
Were you married at that time?
Nope.
Still single?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Well, me and Adam had met. We met in 2007 when I graduated high school. So
Okay.
I moved back to Wallace, went through the dental assisting program, applied for the dental hygiene program, did not get in it the first time. So then I started applying for dental assisting jobs, went ahead and started working as a dental assistant at a local practice here. Then after working there, I wind up enjoying what I was doing, got to meet a lot of people. I was helping people. I liked being able to be beside someone while I was working. So I was there working with a dentist. We basically just casually talked so the patient would feel a little bit more comfortable during procedures, and then went to UAB through the preceptorship to become a dental hygienist.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that, did that for several years until the local dentist did my evaluation and told me that, hey, Lindsey, we're not going to be able to pay you anymore. And I said, what? I helped build your practice, and I feel like I deserve to get a raise.
He didn't give you a choice of maybe getting a piece of his practice?
Nope. So discussion was that you are maxed out. And so I said, I don't believe you. So I'm going to go interview at some other places.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very honest with him and see what other options I would have. And he was right. I did go and interview at several other practices. What I was making was the average in the area. So decided at that time I was 30 years old and I was going to make a career change because I wasn't going to work until I was 70 for the same amount of money.
Well, and at the same time, knowing a little bit about you, you also had another job too, didn't you?
Yes. So I was a waitress.
It was in customer service.
Yes. So I went to Cracker Barrel and worked. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I had to interview 3 times before they hired me, and I was professionally dressed for all interviews. I do not know why, but anyhow, I did learn a lot about customer service there. Talked to a lot of people, met a lot of the locals. Anyways, and then I come to Weikert because I knew you. Okay. As a family friend, and mm-hmm. then I knew Wendy Childers. Mm-hmm. Her daughter and my brother went to school together, and then I knew who Sue Carter was. I had done my research about realtors in the area and seen who was successful in the past and felt like I needed to go talk to those people because especially people I knew because they would be honest about the income potential for me in the future. So I sat down with, I believe it was Wendy first, and mm-hmm. said, Wendy, I make X amount of dollars at the dentist's office. I know I'm going to lose my benefits and my 401k. Do you think I can make this? And she said, the first year, probably not. I was like, the second year, probably not. The third year, yes, eventually if you work hard.
Right.
She really believed in me, and she said, and I said, is it expensive to get my license? She said, yes and no. Up front, no, it doesn't cost a lot to get your license, but after you get your license, to join the MLSs and to be able to get what you need to get started in the business, it does get costly.
Pay the dues and start your advertising and marketing. Absolutely.
Yes, and then having a time frame where you would have no transactions.
Mm-hmm.
When you start, you have who's gonna trust you as a new agent to go buy and sell their house.
Right.
You've got to learn what to do and how to do it, and how to take care of people. So that was a learning curve. We had the one reason I joined Weichert's is because of the training programs that they had for new agents.
Mm-hmm.
So I wind up getting my real estate license. I took all the classes online while I was working at the dentist's office. Did not take the leap of faith to go full time until about a little over 2 years after I'd got my license.
If you don't mind my interrupting, I've got a little bit of input here. But after you had gotten your license, we had a change in leadership, and so I was tasked with running the office in addition to helping the new agents and make sure all the cats, like, handling all the agents is like herding cats. You've heard me tell you that. But I remember one day you came in and you said, Jeff Taylor, and she always would meet me and say, Jeff Taylor, if you promise me that I can replace my income of such and such K per year, I'll go full time. If you promise me I can do that. I said, I cannot promise you to do that because you're going to be working for yourself, but I don't see why you can't. And I remember discussing some strategies that she could get her name out there. And Lindsey Ray would try anything and everything. But I think one of the most effective things she did in order to build confidence was taking her stack of cards, and wherever there was a Dollar General, she would go inside, pass out cards to everybody in that store, as well as the cashier and the manager, and say, if you ever need somebody to help you with real estate, I'm your person.
Right, and another thing I did actually, so hang on a second. Hang on. I got to find it. What did I do with it? It's in my pocket somewhere. I took it off.
How many pockets do you have?
I don't know. How many pockets do I have? Well, I got 4 on my pants. It must be laying somewhere. Anyways, one of the things I did is I have my name tag.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
Jeff Taylor said, you need to make sure you wear your name tag. And I was like, that's the silliest thing ever. And he's like, no, you need to wear it everywhere. And so it's a funny thing. He tells that story about the Dollar General because I really did get a listing from the Dollar General for wearing my name tag because someone read my name tag because I was talking while I was in line. So
you just can't help it.
I will say giving out business cards that came from Jim Weichert, who started the company in New Jersey. The story was that he, 52 years ago?
Yes.
52 years ago, he was at the railroad tracks giving out so many business cards a day. So my thing was, I'm going to give out 25 business cards to anybody and everybody, whether I know them or not. So even if I knew you and you knew I did real estate, I'm going to hand you a business card if I needed to give out another card that day, because you may give that to somebody that you knew at church or somebody at the ball field, somebody you wasn't an agent, but you knew an agent.
Correct.
So it was just getting out there and then doing open houses. It was a lot of grinding and hoping that you made it to the closing table. You never knew with all the obstacles. The easy part is when you get the house under contract. I feel like when you find the house and you ratify the contract, the hard part is keeping the contract together and all the pieces, and you're like the glue to the puzzle. Keep it together throughout the transaction.
Having a positive attitude and telling everybody this will get done in God's time.
Right. It is really hard, though. People have this misconception about real estate from TV shows online, and they think that we go out, we put a sign in the yard, we meet somebody. First, you've got to gain their trust. Then you've got to explain to them the listing part of it if you're going to be listing their house. Then you've got to get them to select you as an agent.
Correct.
And then you've got to do all the steps to it, and we'll get to that in a later podcast about the steps of process about it. But it's a lot of things that you have to do to be able to be successful. And it is, you have to believe in yourself enough to be able to actually do it. The dental practice was a whole different ball game because I was W-2, and I knew I was going into work, and I knew at the end of the week I was going to get paid.
Correct.
Real estate is, man, you just go out.
Show
houses. People assume you don't, I don't know what they assume really, because someone has to put gas in your car. They got to pay for your insurance.
Well, a lot of times they'll look at the ride you're driving and they'll say, oh, that person is making all kinds of money.
Yeah, that's true. Don't judge a book by its cover.
That's right.
It's very misleading. So anyways, I wind up doing real estate somehow. I become successful. No, not somehow. We really know that it's from hard work. A lot of sacrifice went into it.
Lindsey has been a kind of a member of my wife and my family since she was in high school, or maybe even middle school. She played sports with a couple of my wife's children, and she would come over to the house and have, when we had a family event, she was usually there. She comes from a great family, very, very hardworking, and that's the thing that really instilled in Lindsey her idea of making a living, number one, and then number two, being responsible for the people she loves. And she's done a heck of a job. She has come a long way. I know agents who have been in the business 2 or 3, maybe 4 times as long as she has. And I know if you add up all those 20 years of experience, I'm speaking for myself right now, I might be equivalent to 1 good year of hers. I can remember telling her as she was maturing in her profession, if you just keep up with me, I know you'll be able to make enough money. But after a while, I was just trying to keep up with her, and all I would see was some taillights in the distance. And she was 3 or 4 miles ahead of me at that point. But it was really, really, really made me feel good seeing her succeed. And it's been fun. Now for myself, I got a forestry degree from Mississippi State in 1976. Working with people with their timber and with their land, you learn what's good for the land. You learn to help them make a decision about what's the best thing they could do with that resource that they have. And as I got to know the folks locally after we moved here in 1982, I saw how big an agricultural aspect that Coleman County had. Poultry farms, cattle, row crops, hay. Her family comes from an agricultural background. And I figured, you know what? I'm learning all these things about the real estate market as well as natural resource management. And I'm just giving all this advice for nothing. I said, I've got 5 kids I've got to put through private school. I need to be diversified, because the timber market would do like this all the time. There was either you're doing real good or you were sucking wind. So I went ahead and got my license, and back in 2003, and have incorporated that into my way of life. I have managed to put together some deals so that I could have some rental properties for a casual income. I've had farms, I've had timberland, I've had raise cattle, all that fun stuff. Now, my kids, when we were in the cattle business, as they were growing up, and some of them would go off to college, they'd come back home for Christmas, and they would bring some friends home from school and say, well, I just want you to know, when you're eating at our table, you're expected to work for what you eat. And they said, okay, well, what do we have to do? Well, they called it the Farm Olympics. They would have to take tarps off of hay with mud and cow manure up to their knees, wearing their rubber boots, and take hay out and take range cubes out to the cattle so that they could prosper in the wintertime. That was a lot of fun to me. Now, are any of my kids in agriculture? Absolutely not. They wanted to stay the heck away from there. But my idea of real estate is not necessarily the money, which if you work hard and you're knowledgeable and you treat people right, you can have a real good living. But it's being of service for folks, especially first-time buyers, to navigate all of the pitfalls that they can meet when it comes to purchasing real estate. And, I mean, you can go ahead and put money in the bank and watch it make pennies for you, like 0.25% per year, or you can just buy real estate and watch it appreciate like nothing else.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are on the fence about buying or selling, but the good thing is if you choose the right agent for you, they're going to sit down and educate you and help you make a decision. Should I buy or should I think about buying now? Or if you've already bought, should I sell now? And if it's been several years since you've sold something, it's like you're a first-time home buyer all over again.
Correct.
Because you've got to learn all the things. So you want to make sure when you are deciding on who you want to work with that you pick someone and you know, are they a full-time agent or this is something that they do part-time. Depending on who you choose or what else they do is going to, it's going to, down the line, it's going to affect the outcome because you don't know if they're available every time you need them. You don't know if they're going to the correct classes to expand their knowledge on all the recent changes in the market. So it's very important to make sure that you pick someone that you feel comfortable with too, that they're actually there and they're trying to represent you the best they can. Most agents do not do what they do to make money, even though that's what most people think. So there's a lot of really good agents out there, and there's a lot that do it for the wrong reason. But I've been very blessed. The good Lord's blessed me, and my family's blessed me, and I've been able to give some blessings back to my family. So over the years, it's one of those things you get worried about. Am I going to be able to, pay my bills? Am I going to be able to save this amount of money? Am I going to be able to buy Christmas presents this year? So the economy's changed a lot. So it's those things that people just think, oh, your closing disclosure says you get $5,000. No, that goes to the broker and then it's divided up and then you get 30% taxes taken out of it. So there's a lot of things in the background that I feel like buyers and sellers need to know. So the whole point of starting the podcast series and getting to know agents and stories is to educate the community. So that's what we're trying to do here.
And you sure as heck can trust Lindsey Ray.
Thank you, Jeff Taylor. So y'all stay tuned and we will keep this going.